Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Have we got a good one today? Man, oh man, oh man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome back to Hex Token Channel, second live stream. And of course, we're going to be looking at, I'm your host. What's the name? I'm Superman. I'm your host, Superman. And of course, we've finally got a Superman thumbnail on there as well. And we're going to be covering the top 10 Hex Pumpamentals in 2022. That is the top 10 Hex Pumpamentals in 2022. Now, I'm going to post a poll in the chat, but of course, don't fill out the poll until we've watched the presentation, right? So I'm going to put the poll in there, but don't fill it out until you've watched the top 10. But it's just probably a little bit easier for me to post it now. So let's get into it, and I'll post that poll and wait for the actual presentation. I'm going to leave a timestamp at the end, of course. We'll get into the chat first, do introductions, and then get into presentation, and then of course we're going to look at the Hex price and Hedron chart later on. Should be a lot of fun. Let me just get into just make sure the audio is up and running. Sounds good to me, so looks good. So we're going to just get out of there and close that up. Bam. All right, we're going for good here. Now, obviously, we're going to do the presentation now. Let's get into the chat and hold off on the poll until we rock and roll. We've got a big welcome, of course, to everybody. And what else? We've got It's Now Known in the House. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Nice. Yeah, feeling the bump. I'm feeling pumped. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about what's coming up. Easy's in the house as well. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Nice one, Easy. Hey, don't forget to grab yourself a nice cuppa. I've got a good cappuccino. I don't know if you're sure you see that. I've got a good cappuccino in the house there. So get into that. Hex Force is in the house as well. Woo-hoo-hoo. Point Hextra as well with the channel chant there. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hex Idol. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm going to be hardcore out here with the anthem. That's how we roll in this channel, full of excitement, because what's coming up is mind-blowing. We're in the quiet place before the storm, as I said earlier in today's live stream. Francis is in the house with the green hearts. Nice. And what else we got going? We've got Bitfinex in there too. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Bitfinex, good to see you. And all of them in the house. There's Hex Huddle. That's the way we go. And Francis as well has got the channel anthem in the house there. Woo-hoo. That's a longer one for Francis. Very, very nice. Hey, we haven't even done the poll yet, so let's get into it. If people are answering the poll, hold off on the poll, folks, until after the live presentation. That's just the way we go. So hold back there. I know there's 3 votes in there, but let's hold off. All right, here we are. Top 10 Hex Pumpamentals of 2022. Let's get into it, folks. Don't you love the smiley Superman face, man to man? Christopher Reeves. Awesome, awesome. Let's jump over to the next one, of course. Number 1, circulating supply, Hex scarcity. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Now, as I go through this, get into the chat and comment on each particular one. We're going to do this more like a discussion as we go. So, number 1, circulating supply, Hex scarcity. Now, last time we had Gunther, the accountant, was on Cabana Crypto. He's probably got the best estimation of circulating supply of Hex. And he was talking about Hex circulating supply after reassigning some Origin account wallets as being as low as 2.5%. Now, previously, the circulating supply had been about 4.6%, something like that. So that's pretty incredible, folks. Circulating supply, Hex scarcity. Scarcity is very key. Richard Hart talks about having the staking and getting people staked and having the circulating supply as small as possible to get that scarcity. And of course, he always talks about velocity of money in that regard, getting people staked, getting Hex off the market, getting a very tight circulating supply. And of course, that's what we've got. So we have indeed gone down from about 4.5 down closer to 2.5%. That is remarkable. That is remarkable. So that could be something like, in a ballpark numbers, maybe about 15 billion in the public hands. So that's outside the Origin account, of course. So we always see that a circulating supply number with the Origin account in there. Of course, we have to take that out and see what the public circulating supply is, and that's probably somewhere between 15 and maybe low 20 billion. So somewhere in that ballpark. If it's definitely on the low side, that's about 2.5%. So that's pretty exciting, circulating supply. Now, obviously, Hex is going to get copied over to PulseChain, and so there's going to be 2 circulating supplies. But of course, the fundamentals are the same. If you think about it, all the stakers who are hardcore staking are staking on PulseChain for the most part. We may see a little bit of end stakes on Ethereum, but if you think about it, you're earning 2 APYs on both chains. And of course, the Ethereum chain is established. PulseChain will ramp up very fast. Obviously, first system stake copy of Ethereum, but basically you're getting 2 passive incomes, and so that's very powerful. We do also have APY arbitrage in there as well, depending on how the metrics go. So get in the chat there, folks. Let me know what you think about circulating supply. And of course, we've got Nicholas in the house. When Pulse, sir. And Hexodl says can't keep people from voting. Lol, says Hexodl. And yeah, well, I could have Hexodl. I could have just not put the poll up, but that's fine. I'm just encouraging people not to vote, but that's just the way it goes. Adan says, what up, my bro? Love to see your awesome stream. Hey, good to see you, Adan. And Superman, sorry I'm late, but hi, everybody. Hey, Queef, good to see you in the house. Hex Token channel member. Woo, woo, woo. But the next in there, too. Vote number 1, says Hexodl. And can't hold it, says Hexodl. So Hexodl's looking for a banning. We might have to do a ban for Hexodl, at least for 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. Hexodl, we love you, man. Even though you've only got 1 vote. Hopefully you got 1 vote, and that's the way you go. Anyway, let's move on. We've had enough fun with Hexodl. So we've got scarcity. Scarcity in there. And of course, if we jump over to the circulating supply, we can see that on Hex.vision at the moment. So 577 is what we've got there. And we've got total supply of 639 billion on Hex on Ethereum. Obviously, it's all getting copied over. So keep that in the back of your mind there. So 57.7. You know, if we had 0.25% of that, that would be 577.9. And of course, that would be around about 14.5 billion. So we've probably got somewhere between 15 and 20 billion in circulating supply, as per Gunther's comment on Cabana Crypto. So that's pretty impressive. And of course, we'll end up having similar amounts to that on PulseChain. The other thing, of course, is that we obviously had about, I think it was about 4.3 billion sacrificed for PulseChain, PulseX, and that, I think that's pretty amazing too. We have had a lot of OGN stakes as well. And a lot of penalties. So a lot of penalties means that a lot of stuff's been burned as well, and half of that goes to the Origin account. So that's pretty big too. And well, of course, we can see the penalties on the Hex penalties here page, and I think that's over 2 billion if I remember rightly. So it's a pretty big number, and yeah, definitely like a big number there. So yeah, 3 billion, actually close to 3 billion in total penalties so far. So cool. All right, so that's the first one there, circulating supply. The next one, of course, we're going to get into is the second two, number 2, inflation up to 3.6%. I've actually supposed to have 3.69, so a little bit of mistake on there. I will have to update that. Let me just post that there, little typo. Let's get that in, bam, and that will update. Let me just refresh this, and let me just get out of that, and we're going to go to, and we're going to slideshow again. And let's get out of there again, and I've got to go to the right slideshow, bam, and that's just unfortunate to have that little error in there, but you've got to get it right. Inflation up to 3.69%, and of course it's up to, that's the key phrasing, up to 3.69%. So what we see is that if you look at Wales only, he's got a figure of about 1.6% inflation at the moment, and of course a lot of that gets deferred off into the future with Hex staking. So Hex staking is currently at 6.41 years. So we can actually see that on Hex stats. And of course, we can see that Hex stats shows that is currently up at 6.41 years. You can see that there. I've just zoomed on that. So that's 6.41 years. So that defers inflation into the future, and that defers inflation on inflation into the future. So that's pretty awesome. And we can see that we get pretty low inflation coming into the pool. So if we actually go over to the daily inflation that we see, we've got to first of all find where we put that, of course. We've got minted inflation here. So we can see this is actually relatively low. So if we took 369% of the total supply, that would give us an idea, a virtual idea, approximate idea of how much inflation is in the system. This is based on virtual supply. So just take that into account. And of course, the Hex contract works that all out. So it gives you an idea. Anyway, so which is a subset of that. And so what we find is that inflation is deferred into the future. The other side that we have, of course, is penalties. We have early in-stake penalties and late in-stake penalties. Of course, early in-stake penalties is where people go to unstake their stakes. And of course, that means that they're getting penalized for that. That depends on how far. If their long stakes are longer than 180 days, the penalties, they'll pretty much lose 50%. If they get up over 50%, they'll keep their principal, but after that, they'll lose a lot of their interest. So it's kind of like that. A lot of people have been early in staking. We've seen that for PulseChain. We've seen that for The PulseX sacrifices people early in staking, incurring the penalties, sacrificing the Hex for the Pulse and the PulseX. And of course, we've seen something, a huge number for that. And of course, we've seen the total amount, of course, as we showed earlier on the penalties here, is close to 3 billion. So half of that goes to the Origin account, half of that goes to Hex stakers. So that's a pretty pumpamental and incentive for staking Hex, for buying Hex, staking Hex, because you get penalties on top of the inflation, which is up 3.69%. But the other side, of course, is the other side, well, at least that gets redistributed to you. And the other side of course, is that goes to the Origin account. And of course, that is inflation essentially that never hits the market. If you consider the Origin account not getting involved in terms of getting a return, but actually supporting the system, as I do, and as we've seen in behavior so far. So that's pretty awesome. And that basically means we never really get up to 3.69%. And with staking, we defer a lot of that inflation out into the future. That's a very good incentive and pumpamental for a low inflation environment for Hex. So very, very cool. So that's the second one. Our third one, bam, is the Hex T-share rate. Now, the T-share rate, this is how do you describe this? It's kind of a fairness measure. It is really part of the magic of Hex. And what do we see with that? Hex T-share is really part of the magic of Hex. It's not only that, but it's really a fairness measure. That means people that come in early or late, it sort of adjusts for that with the compound returns that people are getting. The other side, of course, is that I'm just trying to get my head around what I'm trying to say there. The Hex T-share rate is basically like the magic there, but it's also, that's right, I remember my phrase here, it's a equal opportunity. So it gives you an equal opportunity. So fairness, equal opportunity to get into Hex. So I love that because share rate's going up all the time, and we can see that T-share rate going up on Hex Daily Stats, and we can see that it's going up just about every day. 8 days out of the last 10 days, it's gone up. It's now 21,267. So people with basically stakes that are expiring, it's going to basically, generally speaking, cost them more to Hex to get restaked again with the same amount of T-share. So people that got in early, they get a bit of a squeeze on, especially if they don't max out and reinvest all their inflation interest, their penalties, they get squeezed out. The other thing, of course, is that they also the people that are coming in new into the system, they get a better field deal because the T-share rate is, even though it's going up, it means that people in the future will get less T-shares. That's the way it works. So eventually we're talking about B shares, M shares, K shares, that sort of thing. So cool. So we've got a reward pool, and we've got a shrinking T-share pool. So that adjusts over time and makes it more fair. So a nice little equality, quality there, and equal opportunity, as it were. Now, on the outcome, quality of outcome, as we might phrase it, that really depends on you as an individual. Will you stay the line? Will you stake long? We know that if you stake 555, that's kind of the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate. And if you stake 555, you get the long-term rewards in terms of Hex payments. Obviously, the underlying price of Hex is based on these pumpamentals, so that has to play out over time. So that's number 3 there. So the Hex T-share rate is a big pumpamental. It makes people have a fair go, and also if you commit to staying long, you get rewarded, and therefore people like that, and that basically people want to get Hex and get that staked and earn those returns to a degree. So really, people that have a long-term mindset, willing to have time in the market and not trying to time the market. People in the short-term mindset, many of them may incur losses because they're speculating on the price of Hex and things like that. So that's number 3. So in the poll, folks, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and of course we've got the vote there. 1, 2, and 3 is the ones we just covered. Now let's get into number 4, the Origin account. Now I see the Origin account as an operator, a financial operator, and of course this provides protection and prosperity. Where do we get the protection from? Well, we've seen it protect the staking class in the big payday. We've seen a lot of we saw the AA lobby recycling, supporting the Hex price and things like that. We also got the prosperity side. The prosperity is that one could argue that it operates in the market to help support the price So you can read between the lines some of the things that might be, whether it's liquidity or pricing provisions or anything like that. That's potentially doing those sort of activities. So these sort of things that we have with the Origin account, it really helps to pump the price over time. Number 5, of course, is the sacrifice accounts. Obviously, people sacrifice for PulseX and PulseChain, and we can see that the PulseX is sacrificed here on Ethereum scan, and of course the PulseChain one as well. And we can see that in the house. We can also see, if we click on it, we can see what is some of the remaining funds in there at the moment. And we've got let me just jump through here. We've got the US DAI stable here at the moment, 278 million in there. We've probably got something over 600. So if you look at that zoom, I'll just zoom on that just so you can see that. So the DAI stable is about 278 million in there. And so for that, we could have a war chest. Now that war chest can be used for lots of things. Maybe it's going to be used to buy Richard Hart coins. You just never know. So we assume it's going to be used for just like the sacrifice, just like the Origin account, sacrifice accounts. If we want to think of them in the kind of the same family, cousins as it were, or brother and sister, something like that, then the war chest potentially over $600 million could be used for something. So Richard talked about that in, I believe it was the last day of the Hexpo in January. I think it was the 9th of January. And of course, he in his keynote speak there, and he talked about, I think it was his social speaker session after that. He talked about, we've got over $600 million. What are we going to do with it? I feel like spending a bit sort of thing. But we could see things with liquidity. See things with buying Hex, buying Pulse, buying PulseX. It could be pretty awesome, and probably in that order. So Hex, Pulse, and PulseX probably in that order is the way you might look at that. And of course, we already have fee burn for Pulse. We already have buy and burn for PulseX. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hex has a nice little Pumpamental there too. That's possible. The other thing, of course, liquidity is also possible, used for liquidity and also other stuff in development. So it's interesting to see some of the things that could be. And of course, airdrops and other things like that are out of there as well. Obviously, no expectations from the work of others, but these are just some of my speculations on the Hex Pumpamentals, so you can take what you want from it. Number 6, of course, whales and institutions. It has been talked about there could be at least 6 to 8 billionaires involved in Hex in some form or another. We've obviously had a lot of institutions, venture capitalists like Three Arrows, Overwatch, and Kiyosaki's often thrown in there. But they potentially have got some of those with their toes dipped in, or actually got quite strong positions into Hex, and possibly looking to increase that, particularly with the rollout of PulseChain and PulseX, right? That's the way millionaires become, billionaires become super billionaires, and millionaires become billionaires. It's kind of like that. And definitely Overwatch has staked their claim to that. The Hex Gold Whale has staked their claim to that. So it's a lot of stuff happening there. Obviously, we also know that Funding Jim also liaises with high wealth individuals, particularly over $20 million. And he's always working behind the scenes there too. So you got that sort of thing happening. We've also got the Hex Investment Trust coming in. This is huge in terms of not just private whales, where we got talking about VCs and people that are willing to take certain risks to get their rewards. We've also got the institutions, and also moving into the superannuation market as well with the Hex Investment Trust. First privately, first target $10 million within 3 months. And then if it achieves that with, I think it's 50 investors, they can then move to try and register that on the public exchange, something like NASDAQ, or many other exchanges like that. And of course, open that up to all the people on the market. And of course, offering up a 38% APY higher. It's actually going to be higher than that if they stake 5,505 days, and that's what they're looking to do. Buy, and never sell. So buy, stake, and never sell. I guess it's a good way of putting it. And of course, that's coming up. We'll hopefully hear more about that in the future from Kinetics and Wales, only and others in that area. So pretty exciting stuff that's looking to come up. That's just going to keep growing in 2022. That's kind of the key outtake there. And so I think that's pretty cool. Number 6 there. So that's the second vote there. Number 4, 5, and 6. So that is the second vote. And of course, number 4, Origin account, sacrifice accounts, war chest in there, over $600 million. And of course, whales institutions, more demand, big demand for Hex, and that's on both chains, remember. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to have Ethereum, Hex on Ethereum, Hex on PulseChain, but both those chains are going to be, a financial operator, and they're not going anywhere. Both chains, obviously, one is going to continue on, the other one is going to ramp up and thrive. And so we're going to have the same players, the same stakers are staking, and of course, that they're using their heads, they're earning passive income on both chains. We'll get some small retailers possibly selling down some EHEX possibly and moving it to trying to move to PulseChain. We'll get a few bit of that, but I think on the whole, we'll see both of those tokens flourish. We've heard Richard talk about both of them flourishing, and I think that's probably pretty positive too. So that's number 3, 4, and number 4, 5, and 6. So you can, that's the second vote. Let's get into number 7. And of course, number 6. I actually haven't finished number 6. Actually, just realized that. So number 6 is the stuff like Hex Investment Trust, and of course we can see the website there, hexinvestmenttrust.com, with Kinetics team. So that's pretty awesome. And of course, we've also got Rack and Rochelle here recently, 8 hours with this latest post. These are the big, large whales, the venture capitalists. And of course, Rack and Rochelle wants to make Overwatch one of the very biggest venture capitalist enterprises, and of course Hex is a big key in that, as well as Pulse and PulseX. And he's got this recent tweet here 8 hours ago: if you could only pick one, EHEX, PHEX, Pulse, or PulseX, and yes, you must specify which Hex chain version. This is for fun, but should prove interesting. So got a nice little play there. He also had his prediction here, of course, which we've covered already, and he goes, are you ready here? So he's getting excited. And of course, he's got his previous assessment here on the 30th of March for Hex for $1.20 on both chains, and I've got Pulse at 11,000x from the price discovery, typically the low point, the all-time low, and PulseX at 8,000x. So some pretty mad gains expected there. So pretty cool there. And of course, people have been able to respond with that, with a couple of people probably having done that already. So yeah, we've got PLS Hex here from Hex PulseX, and everything will be okay. We've got PLS X here from 22 Slams, and the cost here's got PLS Rackham just vote up. So you got a couple of different opinions there. You got, I think PLS will have better performance, and you got SK there, PLX, and you got ROM there, EHEX here. So not Hex on PulseChain, but EHEX from ROM. Very, very interesting there. So lots of different people answering that question. I think it's pretty powerful. So that there is kind of a wrap up on number 6, Whales and Institutions, Hex Investment Trust. Very, very cool, exciting space to be in. That's going to continue to grow, especially as with a lot of the things coming up soon. So look at number 7, conferences, Hexpo and PulseCon. Now, how many projects have big conferences? And these are only getting bigger every year. I think Hexpo last year was what 300, something like that. This year Hexpo in January was what in March was 600 physically. Obviously there was an online Hexpo as well, which was super successful. A big shout out to Matty Allen and his team for organizing that. And of course he talked about earlier today on a live stream, he talked about doing that next year and making, at least maybe not next year, maybe even this year, who knows, but next year for sure, doing it even better, because he's just learning and doing it better and better and better. Hexpo is getting bigger and bigger all the time. And of course, we've got PulseCon 2022, which is another scale again. And of course, Pulse, that's for PulseChain. That includes Hex and PulseX, of course. We just saw Shiba also get announced there with the Asian chairman, Tony Chong, going to be speaking there as a guest, a special speaker. That's over 300. That's 300 million followers on Twitter, 1.1 million holders on Etherscan. That is kind of amazing. Number 15, 16 ranked on CoinGecko. I mean, a big deal. So you can check out my video I did on that the other day. So that's pretty huge. And of course, this is probably one of many communities, especially large ones, that will be coming onto PulseChain. It's going to be first. Remember, PulseChain is the first system state copy of Ethereum, so it's going to be very exciting to see that. So we've got PulseCon, and that's going to be up to 3,000 people. And of course, the tickets have been selling out pretty well. We're going into tier number 2, and so tier number 1 was pretty much sold out. So it's exciting to see that prices are going up too. And of course, we can see that on the Hex conference here. So we've got Matty Allen's Hex conference here. We got that in play. Of course, we had some wonderful stuff here in March with an awesome thing there. And of course, we had Richard Hart here on the socials there, also talking about that war chest. Remember, we got over $600 million. I feel like we need to spend some this year. That's always a nice little airdrop or Easter egg from Richard Hart, no pun, for Easter coming up, but that's just the way it goes. The other thing, of course, PulseCon coming up here too, Las Vegas. Really is awesome. And obviously after Hexpo in Vegas, now PulseCon in Vegas, this is very exciting to see this play out. And this is just getting bigger and bigger, up to 3,000 people. So Hexpo at 600, this at 3,000. You can see it's just getting bigger and bigger, and the venues just keep getting more flash. And I don't think you get too much bigger than the venue that they're going to be having for PulseCon here. And of course, that's with T-Money and Freedom TV running that. So pretty awesome. And Rob, I think, as well. So awesome stuff happening there. And so you can see that that's continually that just shows you that Hex is just getting, as part of a bigger community, just getting at the frontier of all the crypto communities. And obviously we just saw Bitcoin have their conferences. And of course, look how awesome PulseCon's going to be compared to that. I mean, it really is going to be epic. So very exciting stuff. Just still maturing. Hex is 2.4 years old, so still growing up in terms of that. And of course, this next year, 2022, 2023 is the year of virality. We're going to start building over that curve, and that's going to be super exciting to see that play out. That's number 7. I think that's a real sign of maturity, a real sign of leadership, a real sign of gold standard in crypto market. And people are paying attention to that, right? You're getting professional rappers, producers, musicians, personalities, all sorts of stuff getting into it. So very, very cool. Number 8, content creator army. And I think the reason why I've got this number 8, because people talk about possibly we have 100 content creators or more in Hex and PulseChain and PulseX. And of course, I think that's super exciting. And they're going non-stop, right? They're every day, every week. There's something to watch. And I think that's awesome, right? So if we actually go over to Hex streamers, we can see Hex streamers here. Obviously, Hex Token is live now. We've also got Pulse Radio going live at the moment. Offline, we've got a couple that were recently online here. And then, of course, coming up here, we've got Crypto Heartbeat, Gen Hex here as well. Let's have a look at a few of these. These guys, so everyone, all these content creators are just going full time. And of course, they're unrelenting. And then, of course, we've got many, many others here, including Fashion Coder, a young female content creator. And so we're getting more females in the market as well. Very exciting to see all this. And you can obviously see a lot of those names very, very well known. We've got different topics coming up as well, not only just different content creators going full time, just getting bigger and bigger, leading the space in crypto. We've got Crypto Heartbeat here coming up with Rag to Riches, doing with Alex Lorenzo. And of course, we've got here Gen Hex, one of our favorite people here in the community on Hex Token, building up their own channel, doing Maximus with their gold key, doing interviews, so really growing there. And of course, we've got other ones here. We've got Discord Syndicate with T-Rob from PulseCon, and I think that's pretty exciting to see that as well. And so we've got lots of people coming in there. Another one here, of course, we've got the ladies in the house here with Pulse Hex Crypto Ladies Night on official pulsification, and of course doing an amazing job there as well. So really expanding the number of content creators, and it's growing all the time. The type of topics that have been covered, the interviews as well, and also a lot more females coming into the space, which is really wonderful to see. So I think that's really super positive. And so that is number 8 there. The other thing, of course, we've got the highest of stakes. And even though I haven't got that up at the moment, we've got the highest of stakes here. And of course, that is going to be a major film documentary. A major film documentary coming up. They're going into a pre-production now, or post-production now, after they've done a lot of filming, and they're going into post-production to do the next phase of the film documentary. And of course, they're going to be looking at getting this on the big streamers like Netflix, possibly Disney, and things like that. So really, really big. That's going to create that's going to have Richard Hart as the focus, obviously Hex and stuff like that, and all the community, all experiences. And that's going to, because it's done so well, these guys are Emmy Award winning, a team that are making highest of stakes, that this is going to really give a really charismatic storyline that people are going to be able to follow, a strong narrative, and be introduced to Hex as really as the gold standard, the kingpin, the big excitement thing that's happening in crypto. And I think this is really, really big. So we've got 24/7 content creators almost happening these days. Sometimes there's so much content to watch. You've got to really start filtering out who you're going to watch at any particular time, especially if you're very busy. We've got the highest of stakes full documentary coming up, A grade, Emmy Award winning. This is like AAA game. This is a really top-notch thing, and gets on the big streamers by the end of the year. That'd be super, super good. So 2022. So I think that's pretty awesome, and that's number 8, of course. So number 8 there, and then finally, and this is our third vote, of course, at number 7, 8, and 9. We've got Richard Hart, leadership, development, and gamification. Let's not forget that Richard's got massive chops. He is out and about. He's always going go. He's a high achiever. He's I guess he's an alpha, if you want to call it that, stuff like that. Whatever you want to describe, he really is a go-getter. He shows strong leadership in the community. He's always trying to show the direction that we should go in, particularly around marketing, direct promotions, and the things that need to be developed. And I think that's awesome. So very, very cool. And so we can see Richard Hart on Twitter. He's got over 200,000 Twitter followers now. He is growing leaps and bounds. And PulseChain hasn't even launched yet. He's already had 200,000 followers. And of course, on YouTube, he's at 131,000 subscribers and growing strong. You can imagine when PulseChain comes out exploding, he's going to be. On Instagram, of course, he's got 46,000 followers. And of course, that's going to explode as well. I think that's super exciting. So there's some of the cool things that he's doing there. Development, of course, is huge. He obviously innovated in the Hex space. So when the Hex contract came out, he basically did 2 audits, a financial audit that was relatively new. In fact, I'm trying to think of who was doing audits back then. Back at the end of during 2019, doing audits, and there were a lot of scams out there at that time. A lot of hourglasses, which are not scams, but they're just probably old school crypto tokenomics. But he's doing a lot of leadership development on that side. So he ended up developing over a year the Hex, and of course getting up and running with really good credible audits, and of course faced a lot of misleading criticism as well. And of course now the Hex is 2.4 years old and bigger and stronger than ever, as we've just shown. Awesome. I always call it the gold standard product. So he's shown that he can develop that, get it, coordinate and work with developers and tokenomics gurus to develop those products and get into market. And so that's really cool. And of course now he's doing the first system state copy of Ethereum as PulseChain, so that the user experience is going to be really cool, first of all. And of course, it's also going to help his expansion into crypto, taking over the crypto market, which is something that I'm sure he's excited about doing. The other thing, of course, is gamification. He is a genius in crypto and gamification, possibly, if you think about it on the large scale in crypto, if you think about large scale rather than a project scale, small scale, he's probably the number one in the world in gamification theory and gamification for crypto. And he's open-minded too, so he listens to others, he gets ideas from others. He is a very good synthesizer, as we call it. It's very, very cool. He gets his own ideas, he synthesizes other ideas, and he pulls it together and outmaneuvers a lot of the projects in crypto. So it's very exciting to see that from Richard. So that's number 7, 8, and 9, folks. That is our third vote, and I've already got 18 votes, but you guys are rocking and rolling. We're going to get up to number 10. Who wants to get number 10? I think we're going to get number 10. I was supposed to talk about the comments in the chat there, but I've unfortunately jumped through some of those. We'll talk about a few of those before I get into number 10. We've got Brennan in the house. Howdy doody. Hey, good to see you. Richard just tweeted, said Silent Luca. Yeah, we're going to check out Richard's tweet if he's just tweeted, so we'll check that out. Thanks, Silent Luca. This is like preliminary votes. Yeah. Bullish OX says, yeah, absolutely. And Francis got on fire. I like it. I haven't voted for your information, Hexodol. You're very disciplined, Hexodol. Nice one. And hello, Hexagon says Francis. Very cool. It's Nana says, hey, Hex Token fam. Hey, good to see you in the house there. James Bond, our latest channel member in the house there with the rockets emojis. I love it. James Bond, awesome stuff. Holder Generation, we're in here. Hello, going Hex Token, Maxis, and the man himself. Absolutely. Good to see Matty Allen gave you a shout out at Suitman. Oh, cool. That was nice. Very, very cool. I might have missed that part, but thanks, James. Says, but for next. Cool. All right, so we got that going in there. Let's look at number 10, and we'll get back into the chat after this. This is the final one. I think we're almost up to it. So number 10, this is the fourth vote, of course, and that is a PulseChain and PulseX. Boom-ya! PulseChain and PulseX. I'm excited about these things. I don't know about you. Deflation and buy and burn. And of course, that's just some of the things. So obviously, PulseChain is going to be super fast, super cheap. You guys hear of that all the time because it is. It's going to be potentially 4 or 5 times faster than Ethereum. And Rich has talked about potentially up to 200 times, I guess, if they do certain things. And of course, it's going to be super cheap. So instead of paying exorbitant fees on Ethereum, because it's so congested with NFT trading and the rest of it, you'll be able to get it super cheap. One pulse potentially could get you maybe 1,000, 1,300 transactions, at least with some confidence, a couple hundred transactions. So super cheap to use. That means every single project that's built on it will have no barriers to use like they do on Ethereum. So especially metaverses and any project really, but metaverses in particular, something like that. Very cool. And of course, PulseX as well. So PulseX is also going to have just amazing, I think, use cases on there that people are going to be able to use trading, liquidity, farming, and pools. So I think that's going to be pretty awesome, and I'm looking forward to that. On top of that, of course, is that through the sacrifice of PulseChain and PulseX, the total amount of tokens starts at the beginning. So I think that's awesome. So an quick estimate of PulseChain, we could have maybe about 133 trillion tokens of PulseChain. And remember that about 90% or so of that is in the origin accounts. And of course, the PulseX is going to be maybe about 122 from memory trillion, so a bit less. And probably about 77% of that is in the origin accounts based on my numbers that I got. So that's kind of where we think that's at. And of course, we're going to have look at so we've got the total supply at the beginning, and this is a game changer, right? This is where Richard Hart's a gamification. This is where it's coming into play here. And we've got the total amounts of the tokens at sacrifice, and of course, then we've got the deflation, right? So we've got a fee burn for Pulse. That's going to get that off the market over time. We've got a buy and burn on which is a public callable function on PulseX, and that's going to reduce the PulseX over time and at a fast rate too, right? Because it's based on the volume of trade on the site. So we know if there's $1 billion of trade, that's about $700,000 of buy and burn on PulseX. So super fast on PulseX and much slower on PulseChain. Obviously, PulseChain benefits from everything on on the platform, not just things that are being traded through PulseX, but over time, as the price of Pulse goes up, maybe the gas fees goes up, then obviously PulseChain will also benefit from bigger 25% fees over time. So that's a sort of a longer play. But of course, even with the magical buy and burn for PulseX, the perception is that, of course, PulseChain is the chain. That is the native token, PLS, and of course that will be pumped majorly. So this is the pre-foundation, of course, and that's a pretty big deal. And what are other things? PulseChain is the first system state copy of Ethereum. Everything on PulseChain, on Ethereum, is going to get copied over to PulseChain. That's all the ERC20s, 721s, NFTs, and 1155 contracts. And of course, if you look on the tokens on Ethereum, that's over 500,000 contracts just on the tokens alone. Now we might have, 5,000-6,000 active trading pairs on PulseX, and of course we might have higher, could be 10,000 PulseChain, because there's a low cost, super fast. There's not the issues that are on Ethereum, and therefore projects that are costed out through the high fees on Ethereum, and even latency fails and stuff like that, failed transactions should not happen on PulseChain as often. So that should be really awesome for projects that have struggled and suffered over there. Some have died off over there too because of the fees too high for their business model that they've set up. So that's going to be super awesome for that. And it's going to be crazy stuff. Obviously, everyone getting the biggest airdrop in crypto history with PulseChain, they'll be able to actually use that as well. And of course, PulseX is going to be the biggest yield farm in crypto history. And of course, combining those two together, PulseChain airdrop with PulseX yield farming, people can earn passive incomes as well, obviously taking into account permanent losses, but they could also just buy PulseX and stake that when the pools are up. Now, those pools may or may not be big. The one-sided staking pools may or may not be big. They're not going to be there straight off the bat. We've already been told by the devs, and of course, but they will be there. And we could have many projects coming through the pools on PulseX. So that's the case. So here we are. We've got PulseChain running along, of course, at the moment on testnet 2B, and of course 3.1 second blocks, super fast. Ethereum's about 13 second blocks, and of course we've got PulseX here running along as well, doing really well. And of course we've got the farms and the pools that I talk about, awesome passive income. So what does this mean? This means that people that have sacrificed PulseX and Pulse, a lot of them are Hexskins. A lot of them are not Hexskins. A lot of them are new people to the community, PulseSkins and PulseXskins. And what happens is that if this chain does as well as we think it's going to do, they'll all get wealthy. And of course, a certain amount of that will go into Hex. And that's why this is one of the big fundamentals for Hex, is their transfer of wealth out of those successful projects into Hex, which you can get a 38% APY for a 6.4 year stake and so forth. So that's pretty powerful. On top of this, of course, we know that not only are we going to have the biggest airdrop in crypto history with the PulseChain, but of course the biggest yield farming with PulseX in terms of the farms, and that we're also going to have the fastest way to mass adoption through the chain, right? So through the chain is going to be massive. And of course, we've got the Pulse Bridge up and running. So once this sets up, we've got everybody can come over to Ethereum with their stable coins, the ERC20s, and match them up, pull them up with their counterparts in PulseX and stuff like that. Start earning passive income with their free airdrop. That is kind of insane in the membrane. So we've got so many fundamentals there that I've just gone through. It is insane, and that's a whole nother video right there, right? So pretty awesome. And so that's what's going on there. Pretty exciting. Biggest airdrop in crypto history, fastest way to mass adoption, and of course the biggest yield farm in crypto history. That's going to also bring over not just Ethereum users for the airdrop and of course for the yield farming, but all the other chains that where there's hundreds of thousands of yield farmers all over on other chains coming over too. So it really is insane in the membrane when you think about it. Very, very cool. So that creates massive wealth potentially. Obviously, nothing is investment advice here, just my opinion. But that is massive wealth, and that will transfer as a major fundamental for Hex. So those are the top 10, folks. I hope you enjoyed that one. Definitely get into the poll there. That's open now. We've got 28 votes, but get into the poll and fill it out. Which top 10 fundamentals do you think will have the biggest impact on Hex price in 2022? We've got the number 1, 2, and 3. So if we go back in the presentation here, the presentation is in the video description. I gather that a few people probably pulled that up when I posted it, but we've got circulating supply. I love my little thumbnail there with the Superman. That's a tribute. I think it was Sandy asking for that. Tribute to Sandy. Number 1, circulating supply. Number 2, inflation up to 3.69%. And of course, that goes to stakers, remember. And of course, you're earning 38% APY, so pretty attractive and real nice incentive for staking. And of course, Hex T-share rate. You got a cool opportunity to get in and get T-shares now compared to the future, and people will have less T-shares if they unstake, right? So that's longer pays better. So that's number 3. Number 4, Origin account, obviously working to protect and provide prosperity for the Hex ecosystem. And of course, that's operated many times, and no doubt will continue to do that in the future, including Hex staking, right? So it's probably got about 7% of the Hex stakes at the moment. So pretty still doing that, staked out for the next about next 7-8 years. So that's cool too. And of course, the sacrifice there accounts for war chest over $600 million. Some of it's been moved out from the looks of it, but of course, no expectation of work of others. But as I say, the London review from Richard looked pretty fundamental, talking about we have to spend some money, perhaps. Whales and institutions, Hex Investment Trust there is in play as well. So lots of big new money coming in. And of course, we talked about that we already got scarcity. So that's vote number 2. Number 7, conferences. And number 8 there, content creator army. Highest of stakes, a really cool multimedia, social media army going out there and having a big impact, right? We've got a number of content creators as well that are getting over 20,000. I think we've got at least 1 or 2 around that mark now already, in addition to Richard Art, of course. So Crypto Coffee, I think, is over 20,000. Hodl Dog's getting pretty close, and a few others there too. And number 9, of course, Richard Hart himself, just leading the way with awesome stuff. You guys know it all. And then number 10 is the 4th vote there. PulseChain and PulseX, of course, going to supercharge Hex. So we've got people getting wealthy, particularly Hexskins, PulseXskins, PulseXskins, and of course transferring some wealth into Hex to get the higher APY on that. They're probably a bit of a diversification strategy as well. We've also got liquid loans coming into the play. Maybe a month, 2 months later, people could leverage PLS and go into Hex with that too. They won't just go into Pulse like the Honda strategy or PulseX. They could going to Hex. The other thing, of course, is we've got all those people, potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions, coming in from Ethereum and other chains. And potentially we could see, I don't know, a couple percent, 5%, 10% of those people going into Hex. And that's really a major pumpamental, right? It's huge number of uses there. So Hex is scarce. We start off with Hex is scarce. And now we've got Hex Pumpamentals all the way. Demand. Most of these slides show a lot of demand coming into play. Very cool. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on the top 10. Of course, top 10 Hex Pumpamentals in 2022. Woohoo! I love it. So get excited. The Hex price, of course, is at the full pullback. It's in that quiet spot. You guys have seen it before. We've seen this stuff before the big stuff comes out. Sometimes the price can get down really low, and that's when the diamond hands really count, because the price can be deceptive, given all the pumpamentals that are in play are going to roll out this year. So once again, do your own investment due diligence. Nothing on this channel is investment advice, but I feel the FOMO and just diamond hands as well. So cool. All right, so getting to vote there, folks. We're going to check that out during the end of the live stream. We're up to 45 minutes, not too bad. And I feel good about that. So Lucas in the house says we're going to jump over the Hex price there, and I'll leave that on the chart there. Price is at 11.83 cents there, just moving sideways. And of course, Hedron at the moment is at 14.89, just showing a bit further weakness. Of course, going down to an 80% pullback now, and is about 1420. 85% pullback would be around about the 1,000 mark on Hedron. So definitely a DCA area possibly, as the minimum price, the lowest price we've had is 553. So definitely something to think about. Let's get into the hourly there, and we'll post that up there as we go through some of the chats there as well. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're heading up towards 3,900 subscribers. That's our next target. So we hit the 3,800 subscribers earlier today. So a big shout out to all subscribers. Appreciate that for sure. And we've got Silent Lurkers. Please post these top 10 in chat. We'll link to them. Yeah, so the presentation, Silent Lurker, is in the video description. I've reformatted the video description. You'll see that there's a very nice layout now. The presentation's at the top. Obviously, there's join the channel. But then after that, there's a presentation at the top. And of course, that's this presentation that we've just gone through. And you can definitely go through that. Below that, of course, is the Hex links, some really popular Hex links. And of course, underneath there's PulseChain links and PulseX links. So I hope you enjoyed that for sure. All right, cool. And Ancient Kushite says, what's up, everybody? Good to see you in the house. Miles of Crypto says, what's up, homies? I have a conviction I bought in at 11 cents on the dot. Nice one, Miles. Congratulations to you. Francis got the party on for that one. And what else we got to go? It's now says a link to the top 10 is in the description. Silent Lurker, thanks for that. It's now appreciate that. And big hearts from Francis. Nice. What up, family? Human Hex Trafficker in the house. And woo, Francis is excited as I am, that's for sure. Okay, thanks very much. What else we got going? No problem. It's the presentation link. Absolutely. Francis says, I love Jesus. Nice with the hearts and the party. Love it. And destroy that like button, says James Bond. Absolutely. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Definitely share the channel. That's probably the biggest thing at this stage is we're trying to move into the middle of the pack. Obviously, we talked about there being content creators. We're trying to move into the middle of that range at this stage and get the word out. Now, we're also talking about a lot of the up-and-coming channels. They're doing a lot of great things. I mean, look at it, Craig Wadding at Gen X, Crypto, Jim Rat Crypto. They're doing a lot of good stuff. The more people we have on YouTube, the bigger the algorithm says. This community is really big. We need to promote this to more and more people in the crypto space, first of all, maybe investments and other topics like that. And of course, that's really getting, a bang for our buck, as it were. So more people get eyes on Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX, and of course, all the communities that are going to have PulseChain and they get that big airdrop copy is awesome. So it's pretty cool. Ancient Kushite says this community is amazing. Thanks, Superman, for the daily live and keeping us updated. Hey, Ancient Kushite, it's a pleasure, man. I'm excited, as you guys know. It's now says 1 to 10. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Froz is in the house from India. Good to see Mr. Froz. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you. And Brownie's in this as well. Okay, Google remind me to watch this later, says Brownie. Nice. Always good to see Brownie in the channel. Good one. Francia says hello. And QQ's in the house. Whoops, I voted wrong. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think they let you change the vote, do they? We've still got 30 votes, folks. Get in there and vote on the vote there. Still showing 30. I thought we'd have a few more than that. I love Jesus. Do you have a twin? Yeah, I think possibly Francis may do. And RH we trust says QQ. I like that. That is funny. Indeed. No, DJ says thank you for the sacrifice checker. Says DJ. Yeah, no, oh, you're welcome. I think I've got that in the link there. I'll have to double check that. I make sure. I think the sacrifice checker's in the link. I'll have to double check after the live stream though. Jeff Anderson says thanks for the PulseX address last week. Woohoo! From down under. Nice one there, Jeff. You're welcome. And yeah, so if you leave any comments on the video, I do my best to answer those. And if I don't have the answer, I do forward you on to a place where I think you might get the answer. So if you do have any comments, any questions, get them in the chat there as well. Hex Token channel is number 10, says Hex Total. Hey, that's really nice, Hex Total. Very, very cool. I changed my name, says Francia. Nice. And we've got to keep up there. Let's have a look. Bitfinex says you've created a poll that's impossible to answer. What have you done? Says Bitfinex. Yeah, well, the presentation was in the video description, but of course I should have posted it at the end of the live stream there. I just want to be able to see the comments in the chat. That's probably the reason why I did it. Sandeep's in the house as well, also from India. Big stuff. We've got Mr. Faraj from Calcutta, India, and Sandeep from Calcutta, India. Very, very cool. Mr. Faraj says hi to all, love from India. I love it. That's very cool. It's great to have such a strong community from India too. Spread the word there, Mr. Chowdhury and Mr. Feroz as well. Get people to follow this channel. That's a great way. Spread the love of crypto into India. It certainly helps a lot of people around the world make their way in the world, right? Make their way. Santa says double votes. I get it. All right. Now, let's see. TJ's in the house as well. Hex is screaming by at 11 cents. It is crazy at the moment, 11.8. And we've seen it bounce around between 10 and 11.5 cents. It's been there at least 3-4 times. And I really don't think it's going to go down. I think the chance of a capitulation wick, in other words, a really strong wick down to 3 cents or something, is not that likely after 85% pullback. Not that likely. I'm pretty sure it's 85. I've forgotten how much it is. 82. I think it's 82%. I shouldn't stop saying 85. 82%. Let's double check on the candle there. We're at about 51.7, and I think our biggest wick was down here. This was that first 4%, 82%. Yeah, that was it. So not 85, 82%. And of course, at the moment on Hex, we're currently down. Currently down 77%. So up basically 5 percentage points difference there on the Hex channel. And of course, we're trying to move out of this triangle at the moment. So hopefully we'll bust out of that. That's for sure. Bitfinex says Hex HODL, it won't give the options to vote. I protest this impossible poll. We've got 31 votes there. Bitfinex, you're funny, man. You're funny. DJ says if that isn't a bull flag, I don't know what it is. That's pretty funny. I don't know if that's what bull flag. I'm not sure. Are you talking about the hourly chart? Bull flag? That doesn't even look like a bull flag either, does it? All right. Now, Ms. Frost says the total money sacrifice for Pulse and PulseX is going to be market cap for each upon launch. No, Mr. Frost. So the biggest airdrop in crypto history starts at zero. But in saying that, the AMM bot will harvest the liquidity pools, and of course that is going to be magic. It's done V2 already, and of course we're hoping that V3 will be in there too by the launch. They are testing it on their private servers, so hopefully we'll get that. They may just jump to mainnet rather than doing a testnet version 3. We're currently on testnet 2B, so we're hoping for that too. No, the market cap's going to be decided by the market. So once the bridge opens up, we get some US dollar values in there, and once it sort of filters into liquidity, it's going to start filtering around with the rest of them through, kind of, I guess we could call it a heart law type thing, where it just sort of floods through, a bit like water getting into a lake, so that raises all the boats up, kind of like that. So cool. Yep. No, market's going to determine the market cap there, Mr. Froz. But for next says the new order may one day be the king of pumpamentals to rule the world, to keep the economies up and running, up hyperinflation. Woohoo! Can't wait. Yes, I can. I'm a Mexican, says but for next. Nice one there. But for next, yeah. So Richard Hart's also talking about doing his own country, right? Which is really technically an economic zone. I think he's going to take that. It could be very, very popular. Hardy Lan says, woohoo! Back in the game. Bull flag Hex. Where's this bull flag guys talking about? I'm trying to work this bull flag out. I guess you guys are trying to say there's a bull flag in here, but look at we've got these little bot trades on the bottom here. They do really interfere with the chart there. Zana says, like, comment, subscribe, and join. Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Get into the poll, folks. Which top 10 Pumpamentals do you think will have the biggest impact on the Hex price in 2022? We'll get into that. And Brazology says, ducks are playing. They are playing. Hopefully the duck sounds loud enough. Let me know if the duck sound is feeding the ducks is the soundtrack that we have playing in the back. Robson Dumura says, what do you think about the OA setting the sell wall on Hedron? OA, not a fan of Hedron. Well, what it's done is really stopped people selling down the Hex chart all the time, probably influencing the Hex chart as much, and it sort of slowed that potential. The other thing, of course, is that it really has linked it into Hex as a derivative. So I think they're not completely, depending on if a whale wants to move Hedron, they really could, and I suspect we will see that in time, but it has really connected it through to Hex a lot closer. But the next refresh, nice, yeah, refresh. Morris Williams says it's got the emojis in the house. Awesome Hex Token channel member. Good old Morris, another Kiwi. I love Richard Hart, says PulseX coin. I like that. That's true. A lot of people love Richard Hart, that's for sure. Queef says, oh, we got a new message from Richard Hart, didn't we? So let's refresh the page from Richard Hart. I forgot to check that. I do apologize. Let's see, what is that? Louis Vuitton? No, that seems to be the only. We've covered Louis Vuitton. Is that the second one? No, first one. Yeah, no, we already checked out Louis Vuitton in today's earlier live stream on Richard Hart. I'm not sure if he's got any tweets to somebody else. He's got a couple of tweets there. I want everyone publicly. There's a news article. Some listeners and were saved. Exclusive safe moon. What else he's got here? Copies failed. 2017 pond disease are listed and promoted. That's also in case. So yeah, nothing new there from Richard Hart. Cool VIP, as we say. We'll go back to the Hex chart there. We'll zoom that up. Nice. 11.83 cents at the moment. Come on, we can get over 12 cents surely today. We can definitely get over that. CP's in the house. Says great stream. Thanks. Hey CP, you're welcome. And Vinrex is in there too with the fire explosives. I like that. Put the same poll up again. Says it's now. I don't know if I can. It's got 32 votes at the moment. So some people are being able to vote there. So yeah. Yeah, you mean at the end of the live stream? Yeah, sure. Probably a bit late for that now. I might just end it. Thanks, Nana. I think it was a good suggestion, but I only just saw your comment, so we might have to leave that. Bipney says, I also meant that this poll is impossible and deserves protest because you've split the options in a way that best options are evenly spread across the voting options. Hex best, biggest problems. Too good. But for next year only gives us 4 options, and I just felt that those kind of grouped together. So that's kind of why I did that like that. DJ says, lol, I guess I don't know. Yeah. Creeks in the house, another Hex Token channel. By the way, did you guys hear Maddie say launch might still be multiple months away? Yeah, what was his rationale for? I didn't hear him say that. What was his rationale for that? Let us know. You always got to have a reason for the season. Francis got some more hearts out there, and so says now. Nice. Volume is perfect. Says now. Oh, good. That's good on the feeding the duck song. The volume's good. Hardy Hex is in the house. Has changed to a better, meaningful name. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, nice, Hardy Hex. I hope to. Sometimes I get lost with the names. People change their names in the chat. And I lose track of who they are. I'm going to end the poll anyway. I think that might have got stuck there or something. We're going to end the poll and get into that. So which top 10 Pumpamentals do you think have the biggest impact on the Hex price in 2020? Number 10, 34%. Number 1, 2, and 3, 31%. And number 7, 8, 9, 21%. Number 4, 5, 6, 12%. So PulseChain just sneaking out there. Obviously, we have a bit of early pulse. Next time, I'll definitely leave it to the end of the presentation, so the poll can't be front run a bit there. But it's a fair call there. Nice. All right. So Human Hex Trafficker says, if these projections are half wrong, imagine. Yes. Well, I already know about projections being half wrong, especially if you've got the assumptions really wrong. It's a bit like I won't say it at the moment, but the IPCC reports are like that. Edo Hodl's in the house eating something. I can't even see what that is. DJ says, have you posted any material on how to mint PLS tokens? Yes, we've done a couple of videos on that, DJ. And we have done that in real time. That was quite a few weeks ago now, though, because Hedron is well advanced, isn't it? Hedron is moving through the days. Currently, day number 46 on the chart and number 47 on the claim. So we did it weeks ago, showing stuff like that. I do suggest going to David Fedder's video. David Fedder has a couple, maybe 2 or 3 videos on minting Hedron, but it is fairly easy. I mean, it's not a complicated thing. If you have Gwei at about 30 Gwei, it will cost you, if you have Gwei at about 30 Gwei, it will cost you about $8-9, something like that. Typically Sundays, 1 to 3 a.m. UTC time are the best to mint Hedron because the gas fees are lower. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. Let me just show that. So you got the mint button here. You just have to click the mint button and just follow it. It's pretty easy. So if you've got mintable Hedron on this column here, you connect your wallet and your Hex stake should be down the bottom there. If you've already done the claim button, that might, in other words, you've claimed the launch bonus, then it will have the mint button. You just click the mint button. It's that easy, and your Hedron will get into your wallet. You can add Hedron to your MetaMask at the top here. That's it. So if you want to see the Hedron in your MetaMask, you can add it there, and you can mint the token there. It's pretty easy. So hopefully that helps there. Dingo says, I want more charts, PLS, PLXX, LL, liquid lines. Yeah, Dingo Wolf, I'm with you, man. I am with you. I am with you on that. I can't wait. I've been going on about that for some time. We're hoping for liquid lines testnet soon. I checked today, earlier today, there was nothing out on the testnet yet, but apparently it's coming. That people will have public access to liquid lines testnet and the sacrifice balances. Hopefully they're coming soon too. So yeah, looking forward to that. And having more charts is going to be epic. Isn't it going to be epic? We're going to have so many charts though. We're not going to just be talking about Richard Hart charts. We're going to talk about lots of other charts. All the other tokens are going to get priced up from 0. We'll be talking about every other chart too there, Dingo Wolf. Uni token, Shiba, Link, you name it. That's we're going to be talking about it all. Jeff Anderson says airdrops. Read previous question. Really, did I miss something there, Jeff? Unsure whether the testnet with unsure whether what the testnet with all your moves, does any of it become real stakes on? No. So everything on the testnet version 2B, Jeff, is fake. It's all play. It's all pretend, like Monopoly money. It's not real. So really, it's only about getting practice, getting used to the environment on PulseX. It's really just about getting used to doing swaps and things like that, stuff like that. If you've been on PancakeSwap, you'll be pretty familiar with this since it's a fork of PancakeSwap. I don't think there's anything new there. They've got the bridge and PulseX there. The voting, don't think there's anything new in there. No, and what else? There's a suggestion box. You can put suggestions there. Yeah, what else we got? I think that's it at this stage. The buy and burn. Let's see what the burn is at the moment, just while we're here. With the community. The burn on the right here, 16.25 billion burnt now at the moment, so that's pretty cool. Let's jump back to the Hex price there, looking good and not really changing. Man, the Hex price is, because it's been going sideways, like this, because it's been in this range for so long. It just every time we do a live stream, it hasn't been changing lately. So I've covered that one. Cool. Hopefully I've covered that one there. Jeff, yeah. So we talked about Mintra having done theirs, and of course that's just pretend on the V2B. Hopefully that answers your question there, Jeff. Great move. I dig it. How do you think? Let's jump through some of these. It's now it says all play money, just testing. Yeah. Bob Wells says, hey gang, nighttime here in Canada, just checking in, and I hope all is well. Night. Hey Bob Wells, good to see you. Hex Token channel member, and good night, as we said, good night, to Bob. Blair's in the house. Hi all, great update, bud. Abe, thanks Blair, appreciate that. Quiff says, I forgot, I think it was something about liquidity, maybe the AMM bot. I can try and find it. I think it was in the last hour or so of the stream. Okay, cool, thanks for that, Quiff. I don't, Richard's already said on the live stream, that 2 weeks after the SAC balances, and of course on the SAC balances we've had good play as far as I can tell. Let me go back here. SAC checker. Apparently this does the Sens Foundation as well. Let me know if you've done a Sens Foundation sacrifice and that is showing up correct for you. Let me know in the chat if you have done a Sens Foundation sacrifice and the sacrifice results are showing good for you. I think Matty Allen said that he's that's showing good for him. So if you've done one of those, but still got the latest version there, 11th of April on that one. Important background information: sacrifice data iterates faster than new testnets are released. Balances you allocated in testnet V2B might not match what you see below. So what he's referring to there is the testnet on PulseChain, and of course, if you check your wallet balance in here, those are old now. You need to go to the sacrifice checker here and get the latest version and see your actual Pulse and PulseX results. So remember that the chain itself on testnet is old. You can actually pick up the chain, test it you can actually get the version that's on here, and of course all you have to do is select the version, and it's right down here at the bottom there, V2B. But of course that's old now. We've got the latest one, 11th of April. Very cool. Now apparently it seems to have the Sense Foundation in it, so let me know in the chat there. You can review your sacrifice allocations through all iterations by selecting different sacrifice steps, balance you see in testnet V3. So they're talking about testnet V3 still. So that's kind of different from the way Rich is sort of not talking about that at the stage. He was and ahhing about it. So I kind of still think if we do get a testnet V3, really the main purpose is to for the V3 liquidity and the AMM bot harvesting. So we'll see that would include Balancer and other dexes in there as well, not just Uniswap version 3, but Balancer and Banker and stuff like that. So that would be in there. Might not match what you see below yet. Balance you see in testnet V3 might not. So I don't know if that's just a typo or what that is, but it's kind of weird. The balance you see in testnet V3 might not match what you see below yet because there are being more iterations. So I think that is just an error. The way I look at that sentence, the balance you see in testnet might not match what you see below yet because there are more iterations of the sacrifice data sets before testnet V3 is released. Okay, so that's sort of still suggesting that a testnet V3 is coming, but I would suggest that that's going to be super short if it does come. So yeah, hopefully that'll be the case. Please report any missing sacrifice data in the current sacrifice set by filling out the form at the bottom, which is the green button there. Cool. Get back into there. Nice. And Morris is in house. Nice work. Easy money, says Morris. Nice. Hardy's in house. Any news on the bet for mainnet start? Oh yeah, doing the sweepstake. Yeah, I've got to keep working on that. I was going to look at it last night. I didn't end up doing that, but I'll try to do that Hardy next. Now we've got a big live stream tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. That's we've got someone that's done some awesome work around the PulseChain ecosystem. I don't think you want to miss it. If you want to get some really cool insights, I think that's going to be frontier stuff there. So definitely check that. It's coming on tomorrow my time. Probably how long? 10, it's 12, and for probably about 16 hours time that live stream is going to be on. So it's a bit earlier than I normally do. Bob with the emojis. Jeff Anderson says, with the testnet with all your moves, does any of it become real stakes? I think we covered that, didn't we? So how did I get? I thought I'd already answered that one. I'm a protest vote. I'd like to hear by which process anyone made the decision. Very hard to decide. I'm here for the polls, says Bitfinex. Yeah, I'll try and improve on that next time there, Bitfinex. Airdrops. Oh, previous question, I covered that. How did I get? I thought I had already passed this by. DJ says thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. Hardy Hex says, what's your idea about minting Hedron? Back to Hedron here. Wait as long as possible to get as much Hedron for the free claim, or mint and use them. It's up to you, really. There is if you don't mint, there is another bonus, but I think you'll have to wait a long time for it. And that is the other bonus. Where is it gone? The other bonus is this advanced to mint ratio bonus. So if you don't mint, you could get that. That's the way I understand that. I believe that that's when 50% of borrowing against HSI stakes compared to the total amount minted. But the total amount minted is already 72 trillion. So I don't know, that could be a long time away. So I'll double check my understanding, but I think that's correct. So that makes that bonus a long time away. And I believe it only lasts for 1 day. So yeah, interesting stuff there. I'll check the documentation, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Actually, let's possibly check that now. Let's see, documentation, white paper, GitHub, maybe GitHub. poke on that? No, that's not going to be what I want. Hedron. Now there was, is it not the white paper documentation? Maybe it's what do I call it again? Mint ratio. Can't actually see it straight off the bat there. I thought they had the other way of doing it. White paper. Is it going to be like that? No. Minting. You're talking about hex stakes, minting, borrowing, installment payments, payoffs, liquidations, launch phase, advanced to mint ratio. There we are. The advanced to mint ratio, I'll make this a bit bigger. Did I lose it? What happened there? Did I lose it? The advanced to mint ratio bonus exists solely to ensure there is always enough free Hedron to cover all borrowing premiums. This bonus triggers only if the global amount of borrowed Hedron is to exceed more than 50% of the total supply of Hedron in existence. And that's a long time away, right? That's a long, 72 trillion has been minted in existence. So that's a long time away. For every percentage point the borrowed supply exceeds beyond 50% of the total supply, this bonus will increase by 0.2x, which effectively makes the range of the bonus 0 to x, 51% of the borrowed supply to 10x, 100%. Total borrowed supply. When this bonus is triggered, it will exist for only a single Hedron day, scaling downward on following days until the ratio is fixed and total borrowed supply is 50% or less. So, that's I think that's a long, if it ever gets hit, that's a long way away. I'm just trying to think about that. Obviously, there's burning mechanisms in Hedron. I just don't see this happening for a long time. I think there's probably the one thing that I don't know if it's the best part of the design. To be honest, it's a nice little incentive, but I just don't know. I'm critical that this would be it for a long time, if ever. It just seems that way. Anyway, so hopefully that helps there. That's probably it. Otherwise, it's really up to you when you're going to mint if you want to sell them. The other thing, of course, is that you can bid. You can bid on Hedron onto the HSI stakes if they go into liquidation. If you've got Hedron, you might want to mint your Hedron there if you're looking at that. But I imagine that the HSI stakes are going to be in hot demand, especially when they first come out. Right, I think people will be overbidding for the liquidations when they do happen. That could be a couple months away. I don't know when. We could get maybe 2 months away, 3 months away from now, possibly some liquidations. And you can use your Hedron to bid on those and win hex stakes, basically win hex stakes if people default. So, it's possible. We did have a lot of lending at the beginning, and so people may have, remember the beginning of the launch, and so maybe some of those could end up going into default. You just don't know because the price has gone way down since then. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fascinating. Hex says, what is your idea about to mint Hedron? I think I answered that one. Wait as long as possible. Yeah, I think I answered that one. Evening, fellas. Good. GG's earlier. Nice. Hey, MT Corner. It's good to see you in the chat. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. MT Corner in the house. That's what she said, says Hex Huddle. It's now says, just like your multiplier for stakes you have moving forward. Yeah, you definitely got to do your claim, right? You got to do the claim. The claim at the moment is 6x at the moment. That's 6x. It's terrible with the Kiwi accent, but 6x. And you lock that in for the life of your stake. And I think it's pretty cool. Another passive income, right? Derivative income. Now, the Maximus doesn't have that, right? So Maximus is speculation on the capital price, if you think about it, because it's going to move around versus the treasury price, which will include the Hex and the Hedron. And that is built into the on paper onto the Hedron. Obviously, that gets realized at the end of the stake, and you can cash your maxi that you're holding in for that. But you can actually speculate on the price of that, and it'll be probably above or below the treasury price at different points in time. Excuse me. Empty Corners. Let's jump through some of these. I'm going to jump through there. Empty Corners says Hedron's so low in price right now. I just don't care. I'll pay with other things while Hedron sleeps. Yeah, I think so too. I would just hodl your Hedron. We see all the big whales are just hodling the Hedron. There's just not enough value in terms of the way the price moves at the moment. Quick says, is the reason people will overpay for stakes because of the multiplier the stakes have locked in? People will overpay for stakes excuse me, because of the multiplier stakes have locked in. Well, no, the first reason is just because people speculate. They get hype up the market. That's the first thing. They're just the hype in the market. Oh, we've got liquidations, HSI stakes, and then everyone bids over each other. It's brand new, so it's exciting, and everyone bids. That's really what happens. And then secondly, there may be some actually, if you get them at the cost of your hedron versus the value of the HSI stake, could be quite good for you, right? Could what am I saying? Could be a good value for you in terms of if you win the bid or win the auction, then you could actually make good money in the Hex stake versus the hedron. The other thing, of course, is that if you do win, your hedron gets burned, so it gets destroyed. So you lose your hedron. Only the winning bid loses the hedron. But as I understand it, as someone bids, if they got the highest bid, their hedron gets burnt, and then if they get beaten by somebody else, they get it minted back to them. I understand that's how the contract is operating. So the winning bid ends up losing their hedron, and that is a burn feature, a deflationary feature of hedron, a very big one, arguably, over time. Cool. And funny, Hardy Hex says, funny, sure, I claim so I get more than 100,000 hedron more each day because of waiting to mint, and he claimed to fix the bonus. Yeah, just claim to get the bonus. You don't have to mint. It's not necessarily unless you want to sell or later bid on the HSI stakes that people are making. Now, I think there's been a lot of HSI stakes met. Let's go to Twitter and let's see how Hedron's performing, since we're getting a lot of questions around Hedron. Obviously, they've got the HSI stakes. People can sell them on OpenSea at the moment. We've got Hex Daily Stats. So we've got this. Cool. So this is the 5th of April, but Hex Daily Stats is pretty good. We've got there's a 100-day launch phase bonus. You want to get that claim, and if you've got Hex stakes, native stakes on go.hex.com or Staker app, you want to get those in. You've got there's 965 daily transfers, 245,000 total transfers, 280 daily bonus claims we've been doing, and so far 138,000. This is a bit old now because it's 7 days old, but that total claims 138,000 claims. And that's what you want to do. You want to claim your launch bonus. That lasts the life of the stake. You don't have to mint. Mint's really about getting the tokens and putting them into your wallet, possibly selling them, whatever. Daily minted stakes 314, and the total stakes minted was 96,000. So you see, a lot of people had claimed, but not as many had minted. But this minted number has got a lot closer to the claims, because I'm pretty sure there was quite a big gap between the minted and the claims. But a lot more people have minted from the looks of it over time. So cool. Nice one there. All right. We haven't heard much from Alex recently, actually. So maybe we should get Alex on the live stream at some stage. I think they can be set. They can bet however much they want on stakes. I don't think there's a limit. No. You could probably burn a lot of hedron if you wanted to. So cool. Yeah, hit HSI Watch. Yeah, we can go check out HSI Watch. I've got it here somewhere. HSI Watch. So you can, if you are looking at minting, you want to know how much. Maybe you've minted some. You want to know how much you got in the future. Then you can use HSI Watch to have a look at that. It's a really cool site. So bam, and Point Dexter's got that in there. Don't you use HSI Watch? There's HSI Watch. Yes, I played around with HSI Watch. I actually don't look at it a lot, so but you can use this. It will have your native stakes, your HSI stakes, your taxonomic stakes in there. And of course, you will also be able to switch between Ethereum and the Pulse chain. So you got Ethereum on the top left here. You got Pulse testnet V2B here, so you can switch between those. Obviously, Ethereum is the real stuff, and the stage. And of course, you can see your stakes here, and you can see all the other details. You can switch to these switch buttons, and it will change the metadata or the titles. Looking at different data. So you've got Hex shares days, and then you've got Hex yield, Hex mint, future mint. So future mint's really cool. I'm glad they've changed the name. I'm pretty sure this was a different name before. I think future mint is much easier to understand. So that's cool. This is on PulseChain V2B, so this is not on Ethereum. Was it on Ethereum? Yeah, it's on Ethereum. I'm not sure what I'm on. What am I on? Ethereum? No, they want me to switch to Ethereum. So now I'm on Ethereum. See, it's highlighted Ethereum. and of course this will change over to Ethereum. I don't have any stakes on this, it's just a play wallet, but as you saw on the PulseChain V2B that showed up data, so you've got no stakes on this one. And of course they've got chart there as well, so you can play around with all the toggles there and see all the cool stuff there. You've got the Hex staking ladder, the exercise stakes. They've actually improved this a lot. This seems to have got a lot better than in the first version. I'm sure they've updated this because it didn't seem as obvious before. You can toggle all the stuff, so very, very cool. But the cool thing, of course, is being able to see the future hedron that you got mintable, right? So what you know that you've got coming, and that's because you may have a certain amount of days served. So you can mint that at the moment, but of course you may have more days that you haven't served yet in your Hex stake, and you can claim those later, and that's sort of what it gives you on that. So cool. You just had to change the toggles here between the charts and that to show that. And yeah, so it's got the shares, and you can toggle this here too, and that'll give you the future mint there. So you just toggle that back. It's got the Hex stake there, nice, and then toggle for the details. You got the Hex yield, the hedron mint, and the future mint there, and adjusted APY there. So cool. Don't have any question on that. So nice. You got HSI stakes too, and what else they got there? Cool. HSI stakes and tokenized stakes. So this is kind of the NFT stakes as I see it. It's kind of the next step there on the stakes there. If I actually pull up, I've got all the screenshots for that. Let me just pull that up. Yeah, so you got mint borrow, tokenized stakes, end stakes, stake info. Those actions you get there. You can also borrow hedron against HSI stakes. They've got advanced premiums, advanced payments, advanced payoffs, advanced risks on those ones. I probably should go through this actually. That's probably a good idea. I haven't done one myself, but I could probably do that on here. Actually, I might do a video on this. This is a good topic. We've got borrow hedron amount there, and we should be able to do this on PulseChain, testnet 2B, and tokenized Hex stake. Yeah, tokenizing a Hex stake will remove the stake from your control and issue you an NFT token, which is linked to that stake. All right, so the tokenized is really the NFT stake there, and that's important to know. Cool. All right, so there's some of the actions you can do under HSI stakes once you've set one up. They're pretty easy to do. They're basically imagine a jar, putting Hex in that jar, and that's your HSI stakes. And then, of course, you can tokenize that, and it gives you just a lot more smart contract features around on top of the Hex stake, basically. And one of those is an NFT. Cool. So you can switch those around. Pretty neat. This site's been improved a lot. This is a lot easier to follow than when it first came out from the looks of it. So cool. Nice work there. Hardy says maybe it makes sense to mint hedron before mainnet to get them doubled at airdrop pulse. Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. MT says your bonus is locked in on both chains. That's true. So your bonus is locked in on both chains. So everything's getting copied over to both chains. So MT's right about that. It's got the hearts out there. Nice. I think you get them even if you just claim, or even if you don't. You are welcome. It says point extra. Yeah, cool, nice. All right, so how we doing? Right now, in 22 minutes, we're doing pretty well here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and all that good stuff. The presentation is in the video description if you want to check that out, and have fun doing that. And what else? I think that's probably how we're doing for time here. 6:38 p.m. here on Wednesday here in New Zealand. Wednesday, 13th April, 6:38 p.m. We are rocking it with the awesome community. So nice. Let's get over to the Hex price there. 11.83 cents. Man, oh man, just stuck in this little zone here. And hedron is 13.79, making new, no, 15.79. And this is the daily chart. So if we go to the hourly, we are just humming it along on the hourly, and just touching the 15 at the moment. So you're not quite 80% pullback, but getting close to it on that so far. But remember, we did have a massive run up, a 12x run up, so that's probably not surprising. And yeah, and also linked to Hex pool, as someone said earlier, a lot of liquidity there, and of course the market sort of just being a bit more quiet for PulseChain too. Right, looking good. I think that's probably it on there. I like that poll from that tweet from Rackham. I thought that was cool. We've got quite a few others in that one. I thought it was quite PLX buy and burn. PLX again. All eyes on PLS and PLX. PLS going to bring new eyeballs. We've got Dan there. PLXX, PLSX. Christina Hype's in the house. Good old Christina Hype. Hex on PulseChain, big money. We'll go there in the beginning because Hex proved itself. Meanwhile, everyone else will pay with PLS and PLX proofing. Yeah, that's the other thing. Of course, talk about. We talked about that with the war chest and with the Origin account. Obviously, during the AA lobby, all the ETH that was generated, and of course, pumping Hex. I think Matt Allen was talking about Richard Hart saying on the latest Alex video that at some stage he's talked about that explicitly, or at least implied it about buying that. So I might check that out again. But definitely it does things like that, is my implied understanding there. Dang girl says Rackham. Dang girl says Rackham. That's pretty funny. This is tough because I love them all, but if I had to pick one, then I'll go with PLSX. PLS says Casman. Pulse says Illic. It's interesting to see what everyone says. PulseChain, a tough one, but I think I go with PLX because it is the easiest one to access the yield. PulseX with passive income. So PulseX are really winning this one here. Oh, a couple of pulses coming in. Pulse. EHEX because RH is first baby and better vision. And this actually might play out too. This is what we're talking about. If that war chest feeds into EHEX, obviously Pulse has got the fee burn, PulseX got the buy and burn. EHEX will get the love from the war chest or the Origin accounts, something like that, from sacrifice accounts, Origin accounts. So definitely don't be surprised by that. Obviously, no expectations from work of others, but definitely a possibility there. PLS there, nice short-term PLXX, long-term PLS, and short and long-term PX is Trevor, so I can't go wrong with either. Yeah, true. I think PLS is the short-term play. PLXX will be better long-term. Lots of people didn't get into PLS, so they will FOMO in and swap the PLX to PLS. After a while, they'll be bored because of yield. Next to staking and farming, we'll bring them back PLX. Yeah, so this is the kind of position that I've been talking about, that I hold, so that's probably I agree. More with this one than say Trevor's one there. So yeah, definitely a play there. Pulse then Hex, PulseX, PulseX. Dang, it's hard. Must pick one. I'd play it safe and probably go EHEX because I know it's quantity, lesser gains, but lower risk is the main driver of that call. Don't shoot everybody. Yeah, and that's a good point. Lower risk on that in some sense, but I do have a feeling we'll get some of the smaller retailers selling the Hex, and maybe some of the OGs plumbing in there. But of course, I think it offers an APY opportunity for larger holders to pick up Hex on Ethereum as well. Don't shoot everybody. I'm insane bullish on others, but percentage holding should always correspond to risk carried, in my opinion. And I happen to agree with that too. Short-term PLS and long-term EHEX. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool too. So it's good to see quite a few people talking about Hex on Ethereum there. That's kind of cool too. Well, when there's only one PLXX token left, it will probably be worth at least $1.8 billion per token. So a long time, a lifetime. Funny there. PHEX wins, in my opinion, says Hex and Pulse OGs. Nice. And so that's Hex on Pulse. Hex on Pulse long term, no question about it. Yeah, and got to go with Hex. Was it Hex because of Rich Hart has said many powerful leaders have risen in the RH ecosystem, but none more influential than he. I think that I think Hex will get a lot of support on both chains, and from the sources that I've indicated, I think that's going to be the case. In addition, for all of them, from all those factors that we had on the top 10 fundamentals, pumping into that. So cool. Nice. Pulse because of liquid lines. Yeah, so that's another one. Pulse because of liquid lines. That's going to be coming like maybe a month to 2 months after. But liquid lines, it's not only going to pump Pulse though, and it's going to pump Rich Hart tokens probably as order priority. But of course, if some other assets are really cheap, ERC20s, then and some new projects as well, then people can always leverage liquid lines to buy those too. It's not just going to be a Richard Hart ecosystem fest. It's going to be a lot of stuff. PLS and SHIB on PulseChain, says Denny. PHEX will do the same it did on the Ethereum block, in my opinion, says Denny C. So you got some pretty good feedback on these as well. Cool VIP, as we say. Hey, big guy, how you going? Quick question for you, says Pulse77. How much percentage? I'll just jump back to the Hex price there. How much percentage return do you think we may get for PulseX and PulseChain if we just stake it? Safe way, not liquidity. It's just stake it. Well, I think 10 to 30% is probably somewhere in that ballpark there. We could. So let me rephrase it. Probably maybe 8% to 8% to 25%. But people are going to flood in there. You see, Pulse 77. So probably on the lower. It start off high, really high, and like way higher, and then thousands of percent or whatever. And then as people flood into it, it will get down to maybe 7-8% or something like that. There's a bit of a guesswork there. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. Can't stake the PulseChain. Did you mean Pulse? Yeah, we're talking about PulseX. Oh, you're talking about Pulse? No, I think we should. Yeah, PulseX. Yeah, Pulse will be even lower in terms of volume. Pulse 77, really relatively low. Can't stake the PulseChain. Did you mean Pulse? Yeah. PulseX is James Bond. Nice one, James Bond. PulseX rather. Yeah, you're fired, James Bond. Passive income will set you free. That's right. Anything that has a safe way of increasing your volumes, I think that's the way to go. Really do. Matt in Bali says hello from Bali. Hey Matt. Hey, we haven't seen you for a while, Matt. Where have you been? Matt and Maria in Bali, living the dream there. Good to see you, Matt, as always. Pretty sure that claiming secures you will have a Pulse copy on ARM, regardless of minting. The claiming does, so you get the claim bonus. It's going to be copied over to PulseChain. Hex will set you free in time. Hex is going to, I really do believe Hex is going to, it's got all those fundamentals I've put in the top 10 fundamentals, and I really do think that it's going to surprise to the upside and get the Hex will get into the dollars and beyond if these things play out as I expect them to. And Matt and Barley says good vibes, absolutely. And Cruz says, do you think after a while there will be PLS and Hex staking without the lockup on PulseX? Well, PLS will be with validators and with liquid loans and possibly third-party dApps. There's always third-party dApps, and that's the risk. That's the real risky part when third-party projects come in to try and get you to stake their Pulse with them. Maybe like Hourglasses or any other sort of project. And then, of course, Hex staking's already got Hex, so Hex is somewhat more protected big time because it's got 38% APY. This also comes back to the Hex Investment Trust because this, you're going to go to, say, NASDAQ or something, you're going to offer a 38% APY or higher, which I think is going to be more like 43% at just based on the base predictions. Then people are going to go for that, man. People are going to go for that. So, that assumes the global, there's not a global financial crisis. So whenever I'm speaking about anything, it always assumes there's no major, 1929 world depression. Okay, so it's just assuming kind of business as usual, scenario. Matt Barley says, so lockup. I only got through half of that question. Next statement without the lockup on PulseX, since we could just vote it in. I think after a while the BP. Yeah, well, that's why I said, I agree with you that PulseX under the voting, we could vote in for the pools. In any case, all the farms you could vote in a staking pool for Pulse. You could do that. But remember, the Origin account does ultimately controls the DAO voting. So just remember that. I mean, let's not overharp it, but the public will be voting. But there is ultimately a potential veto on that. But whether it gets played or not is another question. But other than that, the community will end up voting. I would say in most cases. Depends. Matt Barley says, unfortunately, Maria got more than just sick. I'm devastated. More than sick. Oh, really, Matt? Are you both very unwell? I hope you both get better. What? She's not with us anymore. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Matt? Are you really? Are you serious? I'm so sorry for your loss. She has a better place. Know that, brother. That's true. Oh, Matt, I'm super, my condolences with you, Matt. Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, she'd be in a better place, that's for sure. I just hope for that. So I did not know that, Matt. Hey, Matt. Thank you, says Matt. Hey, no first check-in since the bad news. Oh, that's just really, I really feel for you, Matt. And, I know that the rest of the community feels for you too. So, I hope that, I'm a Christian, so I hope, God blesses you with peace there, Matt. Gives you a sense of peace once, obviously there's a time of trying to take it all in. I had my, Crypto Heartbeats had his father pass away. I had my mother pass away, so I'm sort of, very, very understanding of that kind of thing. But when it's your partner, it's a huge, huge deal as well. So thoughts and prayers go with you out there, Matt, and I pray for peace coming to you sooner as well. No jokes, says Matt. All good, thank you, says Matt. Glad you're here, says Morris. Yeah, we're glad to see you in the chat there, Matt. And our support to you as well. Rest in peace, says Morris. Chin up, brother. She wouldn't want it that way. That's right. They would definitely want you to have the chin up, to seize the day, seize life is probably the case. But definitely take your time as well to absorb that. Time is time and good support, friends and family. Definitely, big hug, Matt, from Point Hexter, and blessings from Dingo Wolf to you, Matt, as well. My condolences, Matt. Take care of yourself, says James Bond. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, that didn't expect that, Matt. But our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. That's where we're at this stage. Hex is sitting at 11.85 cents. We've got Hedron at 15.16, and that's kind of where we're at. Not too much. We've got Richard quiet, and someone said about Matt. Yeah, I still think early May, mid-May, I guess, is probably the expectation for PulseChain launch at the earliest date. Matt's got the love there. Hey, Matt, really genuinely. Showing you some support there for sure. It's a big deal. So that is that. Don't forget to check out the top 10 Hex Pumpamentals in 2022 if you have missed that, and the presentations in the video description. I'm enjoying these new thumbnail styles. I hope you guys like the thumbnail styles. It's definitely a lot of fun. And of course, I'm your host, Superman. So we finally got a Superman thumbnail in. I think it's been a while since we did one, so it was good to have that in play as well. Definitely. All right. Morris says, amen. Absolutely, Morris. What else? Nice one. All right, so we might end up just hanging out and watching the price chart there for a little bit longer. I'll probably go for maybe another 8 minutes or so. Definitely hang out. Cool. Energy Dave says, energy sent to you, Matt, says from Crypto Dave. Nice one, Crypto Dave. I'm going to close. Probably should close a few of these. I've got a lot of stuff open at the moment, so probably should close those down. Can you believe we've got almost 3 billion in penalties? Can you believe it? That's a lot of penalties. We've got the wall of shame. In fact, I don't think maybe once I've gone through the wall of shame on here. It's not something I normally dwell on. We've got all the walls here. It's the wall of shame's not always the case, right? There's a few people that get their addresses, compromised on here, and but other than that, and often people don't know what they're doing with the hex stakes. They sort of burn a lot of big stakes. But 3 billion in penalties, 50% goes to stakers, 50% to the origin accounts. So that is awesome on inflation too, right? So and our big paydays too. Big paydays, some of that goes to. I love how big paydays get redistributed to people that didn't participate in the big payday through people early in staking. And when people break their commitments that they made, and so I think that's a pretty neat feature as well. Early in stakes, late in stake penalties. So cool. Late in stake penalties, it's you get 2 weeks. 2 weeks of no penalties, and then of course after that 1% per week, and I think that goes over 2 years. So yeah. I forgot to drink my drink. It's crazy. It's now says if you need to talk, reach out to me on the Gen Hex Twitter to get contact info from me, Matt and Barley. We are all here for you, brother. Absolutely. Yeah. Likewise, you can hit me up on Token Hex as well on Twitter there, Matt, if you want to have a chat as well. Cool. Or better yet, you can hit me up on Superman hashtag 9055 on Discord if you need to talk. That's for sure. Cool Vip. Right, 11.85 cents, and Hex chart's got to decide what it's going to do, right? It's got to decide what it's going to do. Hedron is at 1516, so definitely in the house there. Queef says, on the bright side, I'm sure heaven is a lot more fun than living here on Earth. That's got to be true there, Queef. That's for sure. Nice. We probably could do the Hedron. I don't know if you guys have done it Hex stake, but we just put the amount in, put the lengths in, and away you go. In fact, I should probably switch over the browser. Maybe I can do some. Have I got Hex in my wallet? I can't even remember. I think I sold my Hex for something else. I think I sold it for, what did I sell it for? I sold my Hex. Let's actually go. We'll do a quick HSI stake because I haven't done one of those. So we'll go to the trade and exchange. We'll also see how much my PulseX is worth at the moment while we're here. Yeah, it's still down quite a bit, so I have to be patient on that. We have to wait for that to go up. It's was 800,000, now it's 682. So we have to wait for that to get in profit before we do our trade. I bought CMID. I bought CMID there, and I bought that with Hex. So maybe I should swap that over to my Hex again. CMID. That was just a bit of fun. 3,200 Hex. Okay, I've lost about $1,000 on that. Maybe we'll swap that over to something else. I can't really sell that, so it's going to have to be this one. So we'll do this one, and we'll enable CMID. We're going to hit that button and confirm. Bam, and that should be okay. Thanks so much. Thanks also much. Yes, Matt. Hey, so welcome. You're welcome, Matt. More than welcome. And thumbs up there from Matt. Too nice. Thank you, says Matt. No, you're welcome. And prayers from Vinrex there. And Sydney Boy says, what is the time period for the 2 billion penalties? Pretty much the last 2.4 years since Hex has been around. That's for sure. We got you, says it's now absolutely. And Queef's got the hearts out too. All right, cool. Well, we've got the swap. I'm going to swap the CMID there as well. And we're going to trade that out there in 1 moment. We'll just do that. There we are. So we've got the Hex in there. Now we can go over to Hedron and we can create an HSI stake. And what did we say? How much did we say we had in there? Let me pull up my wallet first so we can see that. I haven't done this actually before, have I? I haven't done an HSI stake on this channel. So it's a bit of fun to do that. We've got the Hex in there, 3,260. So we'll do that. Let's do half of it, though. Let's do 2,000 Hex, and we'll stake that for, I don't know, 5555. It's gonna be gone now though, dude, for 555. You will need to make a Hex approval before staking. Okay, we're gonna approve that. And let's confirm that. Give permission to access your Hex. Sure. Edit permission. What is that? Proposed approval limit. This is what I like about what the devs have done. So they've always putting the limit on it rather than unlimited spend on there. So I like that. That's cool. We'll confirm that. And we'll go to the chain, look at the activity, and you can see that I'm approving the Hex spend there, so I can get into the stake. This is processing away. Nice. And looking good there. Hex holder sold, and it's gone. It says Hex holder says. Let us go. So we've done that, so we can actually stake the Hex, and it will be gone. If you're referring to this Hex, will be gone because it's going to be gone for 5 days. So we're going to confirm that. Actually, we'll do 2,000. I like my test polls. Let's do it for 2 days. Let's do it for 2 days. Hex stake for 2 days. And I will confirm that I'm such a, even with my test pulse, I'm such a hoarder. I'm such a hoarder with my test pulse. Pretty sad, to be honest. All right, coming up there. I'll pull this up. It's processing. I think it's processing. Yeah, contract interaction there. Hedron.pro. Cool, that's confirmed. So now, bam. Okay, so where's it gone? Okay, here it is here. So it actually hasn't started yet. So it's a stake type as an instant. So the native one is if you do it through go.x.com or Staker app. But the new one that we just did, the HSI stake, is an instant stake. Stake status is unlocked. Stake B shares 94. B shares, of course, you'll get paid Hedron per B share times your claim bonus. Pending is served days, got no days served. Multiplier is 6, so it's locked in the multiplier there. That's cool, which is currently 6, so that's cool. Borrowed Hedron, so I'm going to have to make this a little smaller because you can't see all the actions there. So cool. So now I've got no Hedron, I can mint none yet. I have to wait till it's served today. So it just starts, there'll be another, I guess, until the UTC time trips over. Borrowed Hedron, I can borrow 188 Hedron on it, so that's cool. How much did I have? I had 2,000 Hex I put in there. Now, I probably can see it on the blockchain, the stake. So I could probably see that there. So we'll view the account on the chain. Maybe that will show up there. 2 tokens, PulseX tokens. Not sure if that shows up on there actually. I don't know whether it did. Maybe it doesn't yet. Okay, cool. We'll jump over to Hedron anyway. We've got some actions, so we can click the action button. We've got heaps of them now, right? The HSI stake, so way more than we have with a standard stake on Hex, with the native stake. So we've got mint. We can borrow against it. We can tokenize it. In other words, be able to trade it as a non-fungible token or NFT. We can end stake, which is a standard function in the Hex contract. They've got stake info and good accounting. So the end stake and good accounting is still in there. We've got that stake info, HSI address there. Cool. You can view the performance of the stake on stakehex.today. Page will contain more information in the future, so that's cool. And then obviously we can borrow against it, and we can tokenize it. So if we tokenize it, it's going to bring up all this stuff here. Tokenize a Hex stake will remove the stake from your control and issue you an NFT token which is linked to the stake. The NFT can be sent to other wallets or traded on any compatible NFT marketplace. Afterwards, the new owner may choose detokenize. So you can detokenize too the stake in order to be grant control of it. You may detokenize the stake yourself if you wish to regain control of it. Tokenized Hex stakes cannot mint, borrow, or otherwise. So you can't mint, borrow, or otherwise interact with Hedron and its features until it has been detokenized. Good accounting is still called against it. So cool. You can do that. You see what steps that has. It brings up a stake there. And you can do that on the ticket. We won't do that this time, but you can do that. And the other thing, of course, you can do a borrow. We can borrow there, and of course you got all the details here about borrowing. I'm going to read through all that. I might do a dedicated video on this. This is a good idea. You can acknowledge that, of course, and click on acknowledge, and then it's going to bring up this page. You can borrow 188 Hedron. You expect to pay one payment with an estimated amount of 888 Hedron. Payments are due every 30 days, starting from the day of advanced creation. Each payment will comprise of the following principal and premium amounts. Estimated premium is 0.1. Principal is this amount. The premium is 0.2 Hedron, so that's how much you're going to have to pay. I guess your final day may be substantially less than estimated amount. Cool. I'm not actually sure whether that's going to process because the stake's not gone live. So because this is still pending, hasn't gone live, it needs to tick over the UTC time. I'm pretty sure that these functions may not work even if we tried to do it. But I'll click acknowledge and see whether we can process that. Maybe it might work. We'll see. Confirm, and let's have a look here. What have we got in the activity? Contract interaction there. Obviously working on the blockchain. Let's see. I'm not sure. That's confirmed. Now I'm not sure how much Hedron we got. How much Hedron we got here? Hedron we had 574, so I'm not sure we've got 2 extra one there. Cool. That borrow's gone to 0. What actions we've got now? Payment, payoff, and payoff. So we've got a payment off, payoff there. So payment. So there's a payment. 188. This is amount to pay. Principal there, so we can make a payment and pay that off, or you can do payoff there. So you can pay off the amount there. This payoff is comprised of the following principal amounts, because I guess I haven't got any of there. So pay off the loan. We'll pay that off. Why not? We'll pay that off. Bam. I might do a full video on that. You probably have to let it go for 24 hours or something like that on the hedge on there. Bam. Cool bit. So it's cool when you can do it on testnet, right? So you should play around with this on testnet if you're gonna PulseChain testnet 2B if you're gonna do it without having to do it for real, and you can play around and see what it actually does. A very good idea. Hex Hodl's in the house, says Hex. Nice that Hex Hodl. Sydney Boys in the house. I wish there was an added feature whereby a 10% sell tax distributed stakers for all large quantities of more than 5 million Hex sold. Let new adopters benefit from the OG's wrecking price. Well, there's if they early in stake for the in stakers, there's a 50% pay it out. But for the OGs, you just got to let them go on there. Taxes. I would only use taxes if you're trying to correct for tokenomic problems that you had at the beginning. Otherwise, tax are inefficient, so I wouldn't use tax otherwise. Ideal file says Sydney Boy, not a bad idea. Gotta love how OGs tell everyone else to be diamond-handed. They go out and spending sprees. There are a few idea file, but a lot of them are staked long-term. A lot of Hex OGs are staked long-term, but I do understand the frustration with a bit of that. Gotta go, says Vinrex. Hey, take care out there. And Vinrex in the house with the fireworks. Sydney Boy says 5 million and above sell amounts. Now remember, Hex is a immutable contract. It's all finished. So just remember that. So this is not. I don't think this is processing yet. Contract interaction failed, and the reason why I believe this failed is because the day that we haven't said any days and it's not live. So I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why that contract that I think it was a payoff where it didn't work, is because we haven't turned over a day. So just remember that when you're playing around with that, your stake does need to be live, I believe, for those features to work properly. P-Hex will inherit the same problem. Let's jump back to the Hex price while we're waiting. P-Hex will inherit the same problem whereby OGs who forever with very little money have a huge amount of T-shares and thereby can continually sell huge amounts of Hex. Continue sell amount of Hex. Well, that's true. That's always going to be in the play, but it does reduce over time. That's the point of it. And a lot of those OGs that are short staking are getting diluted quite fast. And really the OGs who stake long term, typically they may or may not sell. They may just restake for the high APY. But so there's a bit of a question there. But some fair criticisms there, Sydney. Sell tax is not a new feature for other crypto projects. No, but I think it's a sign of weakness to a tokenomic project. Not all of them. I think if you've got problems with your tokenomics to the start, then doing sell tax can help to reset that project. But if it's not, if you've got pretty good tokenomics, then I wouldn't include a sell tax. It's inefficient from that point of view. It's a bit like have you ever seen tax incentives for like a new technology like renewables, something like that? You typically don't want to have an incentive for that typically longer than 3 years. After that, it really should stand alone if you're going to try and incentivize tokens, but like that. Now we see people doing, like, they try to provide incentives for 7-10 years, but that's an actual that's a negative public cost. That's really does just show that technology is not there, right? So it's not there to even with the incentive to get over the line there. I think you see that with Elon Musk with the Tesla's cars. He sort of said, "Oh, we really don't need them anymore." But of course, if they're going to get them, they're going to take them for free. That's the way it's kind of like that. You sound very left. It's now how it says now. Sydney Boy says nothing special about 5 million, but it certainly distinguishes big Hex sellers. 5 million Hex. Sure, I agree. Yeah, I would agree with that, Sydney Boy. That is a large account, but I don't agree with that approach. I think it's working perfectly well. Sydney says Hex, like Hedron, will have constant sell pressure. Well, you know, or I think Hex is the kind of the opposite if you think about it, because it's got staking. It reduces velocity, whereas a lot of other projects don't have that. So it's kind of the counter to that. You just need more adoption. Is probably the case. Hi everybody, are you getting a cyclone suit, man? We kind of had a little bit of bad wind last night, but we're out of the zone for that. It's not in our area. I think it's further to the south. No, it was we had a little bit of wind, but not too bad. It does make me wonder about the roof sometimes when you hear it go. I think we've got an iron roof or something. I can't remember, but I do get a bit of that going on. But we're okay, friends of the bar. So people with more Hex should be penalised. That's not the way to get a grip. So people with a lot of Hex OGs have been penalised. We've seen that with the penalties. That's why 50% goes back to stakers. And the other cool thing is that new Hex stakers that missed out on big payday, like I say many times, get the Hex from the big payday, at least 50% of the penalties from that too. So you actually, if you're a new Hex staker, you're not missing out on the big payday, because any OGs that are early in stake, and that's going to be a function of the price of Hex. So as the Hex goes up, we will get Hex OGs selling. They're going to end their stakes really early, probably maybe 60% through, something like that. I expect 2025, 26 to be quite high, and that's going to go to new stakers that didn't get big payday, and that volume's going to go to them. So, you know, it's give or take. But, you know, I think after PulseChain comes and after retail virality, all that good stuff in the Pumpamentals, it's going to be so much demand that really does get rid of a lot of that kind of stuff. And many of the OGs are staked out 10, 15 years. There's a lot of good long-term staked OGs out there. And like many of those people, I've heard them talk, they say, you know, I don't need to sell. If I'm making so much volume, I only need to sell a little bit. So there are many OGs that will just sell stuff for income as opposed to sell their capital and just keep earning that nice APY. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes, but so far I think it's going pretty well. I am an OG and full benefit from this, so I want the price to get as large as possible, even late adopters. True, agree with that, Sydney. Is here, yeah, and like I say, the share rate also blocks out OGs. So if they do sell down, they want to get back in. You know, they'll have to be really lucky with the low price. But I think that their mechanisms, as I've talked about in the top 10, that are actually going to move the price up and lock out a lot of those people eventually. Not at the moment, obviously, but eventually they'll get locked out. Every high I think is going to be higher. Every low will be a higher low over the big parabolic rises. So yeah, I think that's going to be the case. Hex God Turtle says, I'm going to have to do the rewind tonight, but live. Hey, Hex God Turtle, good to see you in the chat there. Yeah. PulseX is removing the Hex. PulseX is removing the Hex is the only special staking protocol argument. The Hex is, yeah, but that's going to help. I would say, to agree there, Sydney. Hello everybody. Pulse Formers in the house. Nice. Hey, we're coming up almost 2 hours, so we're going to wrap up at 2 hours. We've got a couple of minutes to go. 2 hour live stream, but obviously I'll leave a timestamp for the basic stuff. I'm basically just doing the introduction, the presentation, and then the general comments, which we've been doing, where we just cover Hex price and Hedron and any stuff in the chat there. That's pretty cool. Hope you guys are having a good time. Is anyone else streaming at the moment? Let me have a look. No, I don't see anyone streaming at the moment, but we have got 4 streamers coming up. So if we just close some of these down, close some of these down. Yeah, so we'll close some of these down. Oh, close the Hex price. Never mind. That was an accident. Bam. All right. So yeah, we've got a few streamers coming up. So we've got Matty Allen on an offline. Who's coming up here? Oh, sorry, Crypto Heartbeat coming up. Gina Hex coming up. Discord Syndicate, Official PulseChain, Crypto Panda coming up. So cool. Yeah. So they're coming up there on the live streams. I think they're still a while away though. I think maybe Crypto Heartbeats is the earliest one, right? 11 hours time. So they're still a while away for these ones. 11 hours, 16 hours, 17 hours, 19 hours. That's a little while away from there. James Bond says valuable info in the presentation. Thanks, man. It's fine, James. I'm gonna continue to build out on that, James. I just I've got some plans coming, so it's gonna happen. Hey, Pulse Former, good to see you. Nice. Queef says, do you know about the elephant money situation that just happened? What? No, Queef, what's that? Let me know what you mean. What do you mean by that? Elephant money that just happened. I'm not sure. You're not talking about something with the whale bot? Is there something happened with the whale bot? No, nothing with the whale bot there. Let me know what you mean by the elephant. All right. Hex God says, did you see my DM on Twitter? If not, click it. Also out. Also, are you going to do a TikTok contest for the 100,000 Hex contest? Yeah, we're fudged, says it's now. I'm not sure what that is about the elephant money. The DM, let me just check the DM there. It's currently 7:15 here in New Zealand, so it's probably dinner time for me. Let me just check the DMs though on Twitter. A little trying to pop up there. So Matt, hopefully if you're still watching, we'll catch up with you again soon. And once again, know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. And yeah, definitely feel it's now or myself. If you want to contact us, go for gold on that. Right, man, it took a while there. I got a message there. Let's hit the message on the Twitter. I actually think we're still growing on some of that stuff, so it's good. To look at, man, got a lot of. I haven't actually gone through a lot of stuff. Hex God Turtle. Okay, cool. Okay, $100,000 Hex contest. I'll definitely look at that Hex God Turtle. Definitely for sure. I have got there is a Hex Token TikTok account, so I'll try and look at that. I hope none of you all were in it, says Queef. Elephant money situation. No, I don't know what that is, Queef. Still don't know what it is. Go to Eat Soup Man, keep your strength up for your next stream. That's right. So we'll be doing, remember, tomorrow is a special stream. We're going to be hopefully get some really cool insights into a PulseChain ecosystem diagram, and that we're going to have the creator from that on there. It's the first time he's ever been on, and should be really, really cool. Hex Bartel says, have you heard about the 100,000 Hex giveaway from YouTube's on Hex from Port K4K? Well, I have heard about it now, says Superman. Hex Token, your video on LP tokens and staking then really helped me out. Thanks, bud. You guys made sure you're trying out the testnet. There's a lot to learn. I suggest researching impairment last year. So yeah, I thought that video I did on LPs was very good, especially a really good, strong introduction, and also providing some good tools there. So if you want to check out that LP token video, that was definitely one of the better videos that we've done on technical topics. Creek says, I think it might have been a hexagon behind the project, but got rug pulled like today or yesterday. I think Trayvon was talking about, oh, really? Yeah, well, fortunately, I didn't talk about it. That's why I talk about projects. I said I have to be careful with the ones that I talk about. And obviously, you don't always have 100%. You can't always, predict the future. I do try not to talk about certain things, particularly if they do it in the wrong way. I'm sad. Hopefully, people, hopefully people didn't invest too much money in that. So, yeah. James Bond's got the emojis out in the house. Nice. And made a video about it, says PulseChain. Nice. So he was probably in it, says PulseX. Trayvon. Well, I'll check that because he might do a video on that Monday. The thing I love Trayvon. Now, obviously, we all know Trayvon's past in crypto, but he is a great YouTuber, and he's really improved a lot, I think. But the one thing he's doing at the moment that I don't like is the Tokeneer project with the hourglass. It's got a Hex hourglass in there. That was from the beginning of Hex in 2020, and it was super successful. But it has been encouraging people to get in there for the airdrop token as more token. But the fact is there's not a lot of Hex going through the hourglass, right? And so it's really not. I don't actually like that. I think that's not good. That's the one thing I would have criticism about, because when there's a lot of velocity going through it, a lot of movement, then it's fine. We were back there in the early days. I think I may have had some stuff in Tokeneer. I can't remember. I added stuff in another pool, but It's it's you just, if you haven't got stuff going through the hourglass, then it's only going to benefit people that are in the hourglass, right? And it's just the way I'd say it. Marco says, what is the advantage of being a validator? Earning volume and supporting the chain. Most of the validators will be supporting the chain. Over time, they should make a lot of money over time. But maybe the early 2 years, probably not a lot of money for the validators. But if you're sticking with the validators, it's just more volume, safe way of earning a bit more volume. And if the price goes up huge, then you'll be really happy. As now says Matt and Bali, be strong, brother. Reach out, man. I would be honored to help you in any way I can. Hex family, absolutely. That's beautiful, man. Lots of love out to Matt out in Bali there. All right, I think that's a good place to finish. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Let's rock out. If you're a Hex Token channel member, smash out the emojis in the house there. Thanks for watching. We will be back tomorrow with that special live stream, and just hope that I get up at the right time. That's probably the key thing there. All right, bye for now. All right, take care. Awesome stuff. Hex Hodl and the emojis, and thanks for watching. And yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers out there for you, Matt. Definitely 100%. Let us put the emojis out there, and bam, let's go on this. Bam, 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 bam. All right, cool. Got James Bond with the emojis. It's now with the emojis. Queef, thank you again for everything. Superman, you're the best. I appreciate it. A great community too there, Queef. It's a two-way street, isn't it? Ancient Kushite says thanks again. You're welcome. And emojis in the house there. Take care. I'm going to have some dinner. Sit back and watch a movie or something. That's probably what I'm going to do. I think that's the way to go, isn't it? We've got the emojis. Be strong, Matt and Bali, absolutely. And Hex Token says Morris Williams. And thanks for the show, bud. Awesome, Blair. Take care. I'll see you next one. Bye for now. Superman out. And it's good to finish with the Superman. Was it a logo? Whatever you call it. What do you call it? A Superman thumbnail. That's what I'm trying to think of. All right. I better get off. Quick, get off. Yeah. Prayers out for you, Matt says Queef. Nice. Thank you, Mum. Come over to assist. Thank you, Mum. Come over to assist. I went to Maria's village on the Floors Island where we took her back home. I will return to where I stay in Bali tomorrow. Dogs are waiting, so I'll check in if I can. And thanks to all. Big loves from Matt. Hey, beautiful, Matt. That's really good. And we'll talk to you again soon, Matt. Take care out there. Bye for now.